Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. Today I thought I would do something a little bit different. I have a trip coming up in a couple weeks where I'm going to be backpacking in the Grand Teton National Park. I'll be doing a modified version of the Grand Loop that goes around the Grand Tetons. I'll be there for 5 days, 4 nights, and I just thought I would show you what's in my pack, specifically for longer trips. If I'm 4 to 7 days out, this would typically be my gear loadout that I would take on a trip like that. But let me kind of show you, the stuff that I do pack and kind of where I pack a lot of my stuff. First, let's start with the pouch in the back. And I love this pouch because it holds a lot of stuff for me, has a good deal of capacity that I use. And typically I put things in the back pouch that I don't mind getting wet if it were to rain. Anything that I definitely don't want to get wet, I put inside my pack, or I put it into a dry bag. The first is just simply a little cloth, like a bandana that I use around the camp. Multi-purpose use for this in terms of if I'm cooking or just kind of wiping things off. Is just a little rag or bandana, something like this, that I will typically take with me on the trip. Let's see. Always bring a raincoat. This is the Frog Togs, and I love the Frog Togs rain jackets. It's very lightweight. It's only 30 bucks. They can be a little delicate if you're in the brush, but I don't do too much backpacking in the brush. But it gives me a great coverage. It's never rain through or wet through the material. It doesn't ventilate the best, which is why I use it for like my outer shell when it gets really cold. Sometimes you'll see me wearing this in the morning. It's really cold. I'll wear this on top of all of my layers, but love the Frog Togs rain jacket. Let's see. I do have a pack cover. I've always been debating about whether or not I use it. This is a Z-Packs back cover made of Dyneema. Very lightweight, only a couple ounces. This is just extra security, but I still take it with me on the trail. All right. So this is my tarp. So for those who don't know, I am a hammock camper. Love hammock camping. Don't like sleeping on the ground. I get great night's sleep in a hammock, and so I bring a tarp. And this is a hammock gear tarp. It's a 12-foot tarp, has doors on the sides. It kind of protects me if there's a big storm coming in, so I can kind of close off my hammock. And it's wrapped up in a snake skin, helps me pack it up easily, and just has some of the cordage that I use to hang it. Great tarp. Love the hammock gear tarp. Take it on all my trips. Speaking of my tarp, I have just a little stuff sack, Dyneema stuff sack for my stakes, and these are Z-Packs stakes, so I carry 4 of them to pitch down my tarp. And you'll notice I have cordage on all of my stakes, and so you'll see that I have I've wrapped cords around them, because what I do, and it really helps me, is that I have other Dutchware bling, like little fleas that I put on the end of the corners of my tarp, and this string connects to that and allows me to tighten it and hold it in place again without any knots. So these are the stakes that I use for my tarp. Speaking about my tarp, I also keep my little whoopee slings that I keep back there. Super lightweight. One of my lightest weight options that I use for hanging my hammock, and they're just your typical whoopee slings. The only issue that I may have with these is that sometimes I have to be a little more selective around how far my trees are apart. They need to be a little further than they are closer. But I've never really had an issue with these. I've never had a problem. And so these are kind of my go-to lightweight option for hanging my hammock, are the whoopee slings. Let's see. I also have my cook pot in here. So here's the cozy that I've made for my cook pot. I have the BRS stove, which has been just, I mean, I've used this for a few years now, and it has been awesome. I've had no issues with it at all, so I'll continue to use that. And I just typically keep my little fuel canister. So this is the 4-ounce one, because the way I cook is I just typically boil water for my meals. And so I don't need a lot of gas. I just need gas to get the water boiling, and then I pour it in freezer bags to cook my meals, and saves me a lot of weight. So one of these cans can last me, 2 or 3 trips throughout the year. So like that option. And then I just have a regular 550 milliliter Tokes pot, which again, I'm typically boiling 12 ounces of water. And so this is really all that I need to do to boil that water. And yeah, that's how I make my meals at night. But that is my cook option, and that all folds up nicely right in there with my cozy. It helps my food insulate whenever I'm done. And that's really all that I have in my back pouch there. Let's come over here. I've got my Z-Packs butt pad. This is great. So many options, easy to pull out from the side. And when I'm sitting taking a break, this is wonderful. I've even used it underneath my feet in my hammock sometimes, so my feet get a little bit cold, and just really love this. Again, only a few ounces. And so I use this instead of a chair when I'm kind of going extra light on my backpack. All right, so water filters. So part of my strategy when I backpack is that I will carry a Tetons Be Free. It's a 1-liter bottle, so I can just scoop and begin to drink as well. This is kind of what I'll use when I am on the trail and actively hiking. The other thing I use is a Hydro Pack, and this is a 3-liter one, and it fits a Tetons Be Free filter. And what I really use this for is around camp. Sometimes you're not always close to your water source that you have for that night, or maybe you're sleeping at a dry camp. And so what I typically like to do is to fill this up. So this gives me the water that I need for that dinner that night, breakfast the next morning, and then whatever drink I'm going to have heading out on the hike. So this is really what I use for my water option for backpacking. And again, Tetons Be Free filter, love it. It has worked excellent for me. And that's all I have on that side pack. So this is just my little ditty bag that I carry. It's waterproof. I do keep it on the side, but again, it's a waterproof. I got this from Z-Packs, and this is where I just keep a lot of just small things. So this is where I'll keep some of my toiletries. So I wear contacts, so I'll have that. I found this little Native brand, so really super small travel size deodorant. I know you may not need deodorant. A lot of people don't even pack this, but I like having that. Here is chewable toothpaste, which I found, little tablets, which I think is great because it allows me to take exactly what I need. I kind of use 2 for each time I brush. And so depending on how many days I am hiking, I just take whatever I need. So I'm not carrying an empty tube or any extra toothpaste that I need to. So that has been a great find. And of course I have a little bamboo toothbrush, which has worked out well. And then I have portal wipes, which are pretty awesome. I love it. So it's these little tablets here of paper that are compressed, and all you do is put a little water, moisten a little bit, and then it'll spread out to something that I use for toilet paper. And these have been great. Again, they're super lightweight. I got them in a little tube, and so it keeps them all compact there. And that is what I do for my toiletries. Okay. Let's see. Here's just my little package where I keep just extra cordage for my hammock or for my tarp. I've even got some shock cord in there that I use typically for my tarp. I've got kind of repair kit stuff in here, some Dyneema tape, some air mattress tape, some Luco tape. Anything that can help me repair stuff on the trail is what I use, and I just keep that in a little bag itself. Here's my Bob Ross little mints. So what I keep in here is some pyro putty. I typically get the winter pyro putty. You pinch off like a little, penny's worth of it, and light it, and it'll burn for about 10-15 minutes. And so this is pretty small, lightweight, compacts really easy. So I've really been a fan of the pyro putty when I am at camp. That's been great. Here's my med kit that I use. So I'll have the Bicardin bug lotion. That's great stuff. I take a couple packs of that. Have my ibuprofen that I'll pack, and then I'll just have random size bandages that I'll have. Some chafing cream that I use for the trail. Again, I have some burn gels that I use on the trail. Some antibiotics, genuine triple antibiotic that I use. And then there's kind of sting relief that I'll keep in there. Again, more Band-Aids. And then I use this a lot of times for blisters, which I really don't get. As you can see, I don't really get a lot of blisters on the trail, I think because of the shoes I use. But that is what typically goes into my little Mountain Laurel Design little pack. So I love that. And I'll keep some gauze in there. And that's generally my little med kit that I use on the trail. I use the my power bank, little Anchor 10,000. Sorry, not Anchor. This is the Night Core. What does that say? The Night Core 10,000 milliamp. I use this, and this is great. I think this will charge my phone, 3 or 4 times, which I really don't need, but there's other devices I like to use it. And so I'll keep a little cordage for charging my phone at night. But this can charge other things like my Garmin InReach that I'll show you that I have. And this has been really awesome. So I've loved this. Super lightweight. Again, Night Core. I keep my little spoon in here. I found this spoon at REI, and I love it. Super lightweight, long enough for me to eat. But I like the fact that it folds up real small, and so it's easy to pack away in my ditty bag. Let's see here. Oh yeah, here's my little Night Core Tiki. So this is what I use in place of a headlamp. As you probably have noticed, I love wearing ball caps. That's kind of my thing. And so it allows me to easily just kind of attach it onto my ball cap when I'm at night. And then when I'm in my hammock, I kind of put it in my little hammock hanger that I have in there. And I use this. So this super lightweight, great option for the trail. And yeah, love that. All right, another thing I use, so as you saw, for water filters, I carry a backup. I have 2 water filters in case something goes wrong. The other thing I use a backup is filters, so or lighters, I should say. So typically, I'll carry kind of a long nose Bic lighter, which is great. So I've enjoyed that. Um, I know you can have a little smaller lighter, but sometimes I use alcohol fuels, and I just like having a little distance when I am trying to light the alcohol fuel. But that's super lightweight. I love that. And then I just have kind of a backup, some storm matches here that I use in this little tiny case. So they're windproof, waterproof, and I have a little striker there. So that's kind of my backup in case my Bic doesn't work. So I have 2 of those. And this is kind of something new. This is an external storage for my phone. So I've noticed when I start taking videos, especially in 4K, just eats up the space on my phone. So what this allows me to do is to um, pull the videos and photos off of my phone during a trip and store them on this little external device. This has like 256 gig, I think, so plenty of storage for a trip. And then it allows me to, if I'm, have any drone footage that I want to save or any footage from my phone, especially, video in 4K, I think this is going to help out a lot. Haven't used this yet, and we're using this on the Grand Teton trip, so looking forward to see how well that works, but pretty sure that will. That's my ditty bag, right? That's the little ditty bag that I have. Again, that's from Z-Packs, and I just keep kind of my miscellaneous stuff in there. So that is the sides, the back. So here you can kind of see I have another Z-Packs, love Z-Packs, little water pouch here that I've attached to my backpack. That works out well. I have kind of the thermometer, the little drop, which is great because it records high and low temperatures. So I use that all the time. And then of course I have the Garmin InReach, which I love and my wife loves, just to know that I am safe on the trail. Being able to send her, standardized text has been wonderful. All right, so that is everything that's outside of the pack and on the side. So now let's get to some of the good stuff on the inside. Like I said, I have a Nylafune bag inside, which keeps everything waterproof. Right, so that's kind of the noise you'll hear. Pillow, kind of standard Sea to Summit pillow here. That's great. Again, lightweight. I love that. Keep that in the hammock. I've got my clothes bag here. Again, this is another Z-Packs clothes bag. And let me just show you. I love this. So this is kind of what I pack for clothes typically. So I'll hike, even on a 4 or 5 day trip, I'll hike in the same thing every day. I'm good with that. Especially out here, out west, where I'm not just drenching sweat. It makes it a lot easier. Probably would be different if I was on the East Coast, like I'll go back to North Carolina. So all I really pack is kind of a puffy. So this is the Outdoor Vitals. I love this little puffy because what it helps me, definitely keeps me warm, and I feel like I can hike in it easily, and even if I begin to build up a little sweat, I feel like this is a great ventilation, and have really loved this year, and it's been wonderful. So I always carry some type of insulation to keep me warm. Speaking of that, I'll also carry just a pair of gloves. I think I got these off of Amazon, called Head. These are great. I can still work my phone with these. So it keeps my hands warm. And then what you also may see me wear is kind of my Melazana little beanie that I'll wear over my hats early in the morning. Keeps my ears warm, keeps my head warm. If I'm cold at night, I'll throw that on. So that is great. And that's really it to keep me warm. Again, if I need extra, I'll put on my raincoat, and that'll really keep all that heat in. And I've never at this point needed more than that. In terms of clothes, I do carry an extra pair of, what I call clothes I hike in and then clothes I sleep in. Just a lightweight pair of North Face shorts, super lightweight, very comfortable. I can even hike in these. So like if my other shorts were to get just soaking wet, then I know I can get to camp, I can change into dry clothes, and I can even hike in these if I need to. That's kind of my processes of why my thought process of the clothes that I bring is that if my clothes do get soaking wet because of rain, then I do have an extra pair of clothes that I could hike in. But as long as my other clothes are dry, then I'll sleep in these solely to keep them kind of fresh and clean. So North Face shorts, I'll hike in and then sleep in. And then I have a little Patagonia hoodie. Love the hoodies. And this is just super soft and, love it. Just love sleeping in that. Very soft on the skin, but also if I need to, I'll hike in it as well. A lot of times I'll hike in it out the last day just because I don't feel like changing back into my dirty clothes. So I have that, and then always extra pair of socks. Always carry an extra pair of socks with me in case my feet get cold at night, or even if my other socks are wet, then I can change these out. And these are just the typical darn tough socks that most people use and love them. They are great. Now the thing I like about this clothes bag, and like, well, why are you carrying a clothes bag? Because typically I don't carry bags. I don't bag all my stuff into stuff. But this, when you turn it inside out, it's got this really soft, fabric on it that some people will use this as a pillow. And you saw that I brought a pillow. So what I use, especially in the hammock, is I'll stuff the other clothes that I'm not using at the time, and I'll put this underneath my legs, especially underneath my thighs here, to give me a little more support when I'm sleeping in the hammock. So that helps me when I sleep, so that's great. Another thing it does is that it gives me a place to put the clothes that I hike in. They're going to be warm the next day. And for me, the worst part about backpacking is getting up in the morning, especially if it's 30, 40 degrees, and you're trying to put on cold clothes or cold socks. If I keep them in this and then I put them under my legs, it's going to keep them warm. And so I'm putting on warm clothes in the morning, which I love. So love this Z-Packs little dry bag, pillow bag. I take it with me all the time. All right, only a couple more things left. This is my quilt. So I am a quilt guy, and this is my Enlightened Equipment Revelation quilt. It is 30 degrees. I'm a warm sleeper, so I've taken this down to below 30 and have been fine. I would say if you're not a warm sleeper, then maybe the Revelation or the Enlightened Equipment may be good down to 40 degrees, but I've taken it down to 30 and have not had any problem at all. And again, this is what I sleep with on the hammock. So that is awesome. I've used that for a few years. And then I have something new. Haven't tried this out yet, but I cannot wait to try this out. So, let's pull this out. Let's see, this is my last. All right. So I am a hammock camper, and I'm a Dutch guy. Love the Dutch. I have so much Dutch bling, Dutch cordage. I have 3 or 4 Dutch hammocks. Well, what you see here is a Dutch chameleon. It's kind of hard to see because it is now coordinated with my underquilt. So Dutch has been working with Jacks Are Better, and they have designed, Jacks Are Better has designed a quilt that actually zips on to the Dutch chameleon hammock. And this is great because if you're a hammock person, then you know sometimes it's a lot of fiddling and coordinating with trying to get it right and trying to eliminate some of the cold spots. But with this thing zipped up from head to toe, the only thing I have to do is cinch up the bottom and the top, and then I'm good to go. So this is a Jacks Are Better quilt, underquilt, that gets rated down to 20 degrees, and it zips onto my chameleon hammock, and so it is now one piece of gear. I am really looking forward to seeing how well this underquilt works with it being zipped in and incorporated with the Dutch chameleon. I think it's brilliant. To me, it was a game changer. And I love my Dutch chameleon. It is super, super comfortable. Again, I have 2 or 3 Dutch hammocks, and I really love them all. But this is kind of my go-to hammock that I use for longer trips when I want to be really comfortable. And so, yeah, looking forward to seeing how all that goes. Well, well, that is it. So you see my nylon bags, that keeps everything dry on the inside. But that's it. That's my gear. That's the gear that I use on longer trips, generally 4 days or longer. That's what I'll be taking with me on my Grand Teton trip here in a few weeks.